Alright, we're continuing our tour of the Shark Tuner software. We've just loaded a new stock map in our S4. We'll go to the Fuel Maps page. These are where all of the various maps are stored. And you'll notice we've got a blue cursor sitting up here in the upper left. We've got the ignition turned on, but the engine's not running. We'll fire it up here in a moment and show you what happens. But this is our base fuel map. And these are the corrections to the theoretical fueling for stock S4. Vertical axis starting with 36 is our MAF signal. That's the engine load. As you increase engine load, the cursor will move downwards, and the horizontal scale across the top is RPM. So go ahead and start the motor. Notice my cursor went away. I'm going to bounce back to the EEPROM page, back to fuel maps. What happens is starter current will drop the battery voltage and the Shark Tuner box loses communications. Alright, notice my fuel is running a little rich here. I'm not fully warmed up yet. If I bounce over to fuel monitor, check the coolant temp, 131 degrees, pretty well warmed up, and O2 sensor adjust just kicked in, taking out about 10 to 14% fuel. But let's go back to our maps page, and I'll just increase RPMs. You can see the little cursor moving across to the right. And idle is kind of a crescent over on the left-hand side. You'll see it bouncing up and down there. At low RPMs, the engine load per revolution actually increases. So you'll kind of see it going toward higher load as it goes to lower RPM. And up at the top, air-fuel ratio is running 15-16. O2 sensor adjust, minus 5%, taking out some fuel. We've got a bunch of maps here, selectable in this upper left-hand box. We've got two base maps, one for cat mode, one for non-cat. If you select the non-cat mode, notice the warning, not being used by the ECU. We've got a wide open throttle WOT enrichment map. This is additional fuel that gets injected anytime the throttle goes wide open. And that's a switch on the actual throttle assembly itself. There's two of those, cat, non-cat. There's a warm-up enrichment map. Notice our little cursor is over moving up toward 150 Fahrenheit, toward very little additional fuel. Once it gets up into the last couple of cells, there won't be any. And then obviously at very low temperatures, puts in quite a bit of additional fuel. So if you have a cold weather startup problem, that's the place to come. And again, two of those, cat and no cat. We have an acceleration and enrichment map. We looked at the parameters on the fuel parameter page for changing this. This is the base value and does depend on temperature. Obviously at colder temperatures you have larger enrichment numbers. In other words, colder the engine, the more fuel you want to put in for acceleration for transients. And again, two of those, cat, no cat. And then we have a cranking fuel map. We looked at our cranking pulse width, 4.2 milliseconds is for a stock engine. And this is additional fuel for cranking in colder temperatures. And that's the maps page.